Hey everybody, and welcome to a special Q&A. This isn't live. I'm actually in Detroit right now. I thought I would put this out and getting to some questions at the end of the usual live stream that I don't get to. So I've kept all, by the way, I read all of the questions and I keep all of the questions in a folder. And the ones I don't get to on the show, I'm going to go through some of them now and answer your questions. So if you do check out the regular live show, Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, I do read all the questions. Also, you see behind me here the Toyo board and skis. Yeah, they're going to go away at the end of January. So what I want you to do, if you want to win the skis or the snowboard, you go to my website, motormouth.ca, and click on the contact tab. And please fill in your name, your address, your email, and most importantly, your phone number. People have been leaving that out. I need to be able to get in touch with you when we draw this at the end of January, so just a few weeks away. And these are from Toyo Tires Canada. They're Elan board and Elan skis. And yeah, they're cool, so it doesn't cost you anything to enter. Someone's got to win them. It might as well be you. So thanks to Toyo Tires Canada for doing that. All right, so let's get into the Q&A minus the live part. But here we go. This is from Thomas. Can you get the same front seat comfort from the new Toyota RAV4 compared to the Volvo XC40? I think the short answer to that is no. The Volvo, in my opinion, Volvo as a brand, in my opinion, does great work when it comes to seats. Historically, they've always had some of the most comfortable seats in the industry, and you're looking at a non-premium brand with a premium brand, and those are the areas where they actually do spend some of the money. Typically, when you buy a premium brand, you're paying for more sound insulation, upgraded seat quality, seat materials. Another thing to consider, there's no leather seats in the RAV4, and you can get that in the XC40. Now, I do encourage you to go and watch the reviews that are on the channel of both of these products. When you look at the Toyota RAV4, you see an interior that is quite simple. It's nicely put together. They use what I would call robust materials, but at closer inspection, it's filled with a lot of plastic. That's pretty common at the price point a RAV4 starts at, but it looks to me to be built for durability, not for out-and-out comfort. So yeah, the Volvo is the way to go on that one, if you want that. Omar says, is the all-new Golf GTI practical in a Canadian winter? Absolutely. There was a study that just came out from DesRosiers and Associates. Dennis DesRosiers is Canada's largest auto analyst, talking about SUVs. And the number one reason people buy SUVs is for space. The number two reason is for capability, especially driving in Canadian winters. Well, I'm from an era where we didn't have, SUVs in every driveway. Most people back in the old days, when they wanted to get a car that was good in the snow, they bought a front-wheel drive car. Think about that. Cars were rear-wheel drive. The tires weren't the same technology we have today. So back in the 80s and the 90s, people who wanted to buy a good car in winter chose a front-wheel drive car because the engine is over the wheels. So we're in this mindset that everybody's got to run out and get an SUV. Everybody's got to run out and get all-wheel drive. It's not the case. You put good winter tires, like a good high-quality Toyo winter tire, and they do. And actually, I did a little corporate video for Toyo. That's why I got these the ski and the board. They have a new tire that's just been redone for performance cars called the GSI-6. And the GSI-6 is a tire that's for a performance-oriented car like a GTI and will do fantastic in the winter. And the good thing about Toyo tires, a Japanese brand, they're well engineered and they're not too expensive. So check those out if you want. Mark says, sorry, I missed that one. Hi, Zach. How's it going? Any thoughts on the Mazda CX-5 versus the Nissan Rogue? Well, it's great that you actually write this because my wife and I are going to be reviewing the CX-5 and putting it out. So this is a unique experiment because the CX-5 is a premium feeling utility in a non-premium brand, a premium engine in a non-premium brand. Now, what does that mean? Mazda has decided to offer their signature trim in their mainline cars. So think of the CX-9, the CX-5, and also the Mazda 6. So they've offered cars with a level of interior finish and refinement that rivals premium brands. in the CX-5, it looks as good as a Q5 from Audi, a Q3, or even an X3 from BMW. The materials and the way it's put together rivals those brands. And then you add in on the top two trims in Canada, on the GT and the Signature, you can get the new turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. So you think about what brands are offering that. Those are premium brands for the most part. Kind of an outlier there would be the Tiguan from Volkswagen. So I think if you're comparing the CX-5 with the Nissan Rogue, it's like night and day, especially when you get into the upper trims. That CX-5 has almost premium materials, ride, handling, and engine compared to the Rogue with a CVT. So a base trims, it's a better argument, but the higher trims is no question the CX-5. So keep an eye out for that video. My wife and I will be doing it. Hey Zach, I have an Acura TLX V6 coming out of the lease in 6 months. There are loads of options out there, but I'm looking, I didn't finish the question. Yeah, the TLX, so that would have been an early TLX because they got rid of the TL and the TSX and they created the TLX. So I'm not sure what the rest of your question was there. Oh, I see. It continues here. A couple of questions down. Looking for something more practical, as 2 boys. Looking at wagons and sportbacks, what do you think? An interesting article came out last week. In the United States, the fastest growing segments, or the segments that are actually growing, are utilities and station wagons. And the interesting thing is that station wagons have become the new cool thing to own by wealthy people. Isn't that quite interesting? So like the ultimate, I've said this many times on this live chat, is the ultimate, in my opinion, under the radar sled would be a Mercedes-Benz E63S AMG, but I would take the badges off it. You would just think it's a kind of a, you know, a more muscular looking E-Class wagon, but that is the fastest utility on the road. So I kind of see where you're going with this. And I think it's a trend that I hope you know, really gets some traction here, pardon the pun. You look at that beautiful V90 wagon from Volvo or the cross country. Actually, there it is there. There's Max did a review on it recently. I've done a couple of reviews as well. So a great product. And in Europe, for those who have been to Europe, you know that estates or wagons are very, very popular. So if you're looking for a wagon instead of your TLX, a couple of options. So one that is a wagon but marketed as an SUV would be the Outback from Subaru, okay? Then you get into the All-Track from Volkswagen or their sport wagon, the Volkswagen Golf. Now, if you're coming from a TLX, the Volkswagen All-Track might be a little bit small. The Outback, however, is bigger. And then you start getting into some of the premium brands. Now you're asking also about sportbacks. So is the A5 Sportback from Audi going to be big enough for you? Probably not. A car that you might want to consider is the Kia Stinger. That's a large car with a lift back and has a nice sized back seat. So that's something you might want to consider. But have a look at the wagons out there. The Volvo is certainly attractive. There's going to be the V60 as well. And this is a good time to be shopping. Oh, one that you might consider, so you've had a premium car, is the C-Class station wagon. Is not available in the United States, but it is available in Canada. That is a really nice car. So that's one that you should look at if you can, you know, float the price. That's a good car. Looking at a Tacoma, obviously Toyota Tacoma 2019, I was looking at 6-speed, resale value and manual transmission, a dying breed. Should I get the auto? Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for resale, like think about how many people are actually out there looking for a manual transmission pickup truck. To be honest with you, I didn't even know it was available with a 6-speed manual transmission. So would I buy the auto or the 6-speed? I mean, yeah, the manual's cool, but yeah, no, there's no chance for resale value that a manual is going to hold its value. Hey, Zach, what's your take on the XT5 and new XT4? I think they nailed them, and they're a nice alternative to the German Holy Trinity luxury SUVs, Audi, Mercedes, and BMW. Cadillac going in the right direction. I would agree with that. I think that the XT4 is a better execution than the XT5. And it only comes down to the in-car infotainment. And I also think that the XT5 could use a little bit more power. Even though it's a 6-cylinder engine, it could use a little bit more power. The XT4 has a turbocharged 4-cylinder 2-liter like everybody else in the industry. But the difference between the XT5 and the XT4 is the XT4 has the new infotainment system. You might remember Cadillac called it the Q, the Cadillac User Experience. Now they've ditched that name and they've gone to a controller in the middle with a screen in the center, similar to a lot of premium brands, and that is a major update in my opinion. The interior of the new XT4 is really nicely done. Here's the thing. At the North American International Auto Show, the Detroit Auto Show, they're going to be showing the XT6. Now you think about the Cadillac lineup. They're going to be getting rid of a lot of their sedans, and they're going to be offering mostly utilities. That's exactly the way the industry's going. Here's a number that I just found out. 71% of all vehicles sold in the market that I live, the Canadian market, 71% are light duty trucks. Now those include, 1,500 pickup trucks and utility vehicles. Of that 71%, over 60% were just SUVs, which shows you just how fast the industry is going. So Cadillac getting rid of cars and focusing on utilities is exactly what the market wants. So you have XT4, that's the sort of subcompact utility. You have XT5, which is the compact. And then between there, the next one up is Escalade. Body on frame, big heavy truck with a V8 engine. Nothing in the middle. So you look at the counterparts in General Motors. You have the Enclave. You have the Traverse. What's the GMC one? The Acadia. You have all of these 3-row crossover vehicles built on a car platform. That's what Cadillac is going to have with the XT6. That will probably be a good seller. But you look at what Lincoln's come out with. They've come out with the Aviator and the Nautilus. And so it's heating up in the domestic utility space. And some of these are really nice looking utilities. And I would argue that yes, the XT4 is a really good product. Hey Zach, I live in Toronto. I'm looking to buy a new car around $30,000 to $36,000 range. I'm thinking about the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry. My main concern is ride comfort and low cabin noise. Well, both great products, both battle it out for mid-size car supremacy. In the mid-size car space, there's Camry, Accord, and then there's everybody else. I mean, they're just so far ahead of everybody else. It's unbelievable. So those are two good choices. So if you're looking for ride comfort and low cabin noise, I'm going to surprise you with my choice in this one. I would suggest that ride comfort, it's going to be about even. But for noise, the one I would choose would be the Toyota Camry Hybrid. Now the 4-cylinder of the Camry is a good car. The V6 is kind of overkill for most, but the real sweet spot and actually a better performing car than the 4-cylinder is the hybrid, because you get the torque from the electric motors. It makes it very quiet, very refined, very fuel efficient, very reliable, and the best Camry of the bunch. If you're looking for performance, get the V6, but the best Camry in my opinion excuse me, is the Camry Hybrid. So give that one a shot if you're looking for ride comfort and cabin noise. Lots of automakers have updates and prepare for the future. What about Suzuki? Any updates on Suzuki? Suzuki has retreated from the North American market and they're not coming back. Mark asks, are you going to be looking at the Rivian or Rivian? It's going to be in Detroit. So Rivian is the new electric car company, actually new electric truck company based in Detroit. They say they have 4 offices around the world. They've been in production, pre-production and prototypes for many years now. And they showed at the LA show a pickup truck and an SUV. Certainly exciting looking, and from what I could see in pictures, and I'm going to look at it in Detroit, what I could see in pictures is the level of finish and refinement on the inside is first class. So that's one area where Tesla really struggles. I was watching another YouTuber doing a review of his Tesla Model 3, and he went through all of the faults on the outside, all of the paint problems, all of the fit and finish with the way the car is put together, problems with the inside, car having to go back and get repaired. I was just thinking to myself, like, why do people give this company such a pass? And it's like, if a car's 60,000, if you bought a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW or an Audi for $60,000 and it had all kinds of paint problems, he had to have the big panel in the roof replaced because it looked like it had been all scratched. I mean, nobody would accept that from those brands, but Tesla gets a pass. So Rivian, it's going to be interesting. So I'll find out more about it when I get to Detroit. Do you think headlights are getting too bright for us to use on two-lane country roads? Well, with LED headlamp technology, even xenon headlamp technology, headlamps have become much brighter. It's an interesting article that just came out in the United States. Most brands failed to have strong headlights, or they didn't get a passing grade. So a lot of car brands don't have good headlamps. I think what you're finding is a lot of cars are driving with their high beams on, which is blinding you on country roads. Now the good news is, in order to get the top rating to get a 5-star crash rating, you have to have things like forward collision warning, autonomous braking, and one is automatic high beam assist. So on a lot of Toyota products, for example, you can get a Camry or a RAV4 and it has this feature. So when you're driving along a 2-lane country road with the high beams on, another vehicle comes towards you, the headlamps dim to low beam, and then when the car passes, they automatically go to high beam. I think a lot of people are leaving their high beams on or thinking maybe it's automatically dimming, and it isn't. But the more car companies are investing in the auto high beam dimming technology in order to get that 5-star crash rating for new vehicles, I think a lot of that will be alleviated. But the interesting, I can't remember the study off the top of my head, I didn't know this question was coming up, is that a lot of car companies didn't get good ratings at all for their headlamps. And then when you add in high beams, it's a different equation. It seemed to be most of the car brands that had excellent high beams were premium brands. But a lot of mainline brands don't invest in good headlamps, unfortunately. You know, one product that had excellent headlamps that I drove recently was the new Jeep Wrangler. Now, granted, they were the optional LED headlamps, but that's something that I noticed. And also, an inexpensive car, Mitsubishi RVR with the optional headlight package were fantastic. So some brands do get it right. In all honesty, this is the next question. In all honesty, what do you think of a continuously variable transmission? Well, I think continuously variable transmissions are great for people that are not really tuned into their car. If you get, and there's just a lot of people in the marketplace, I hate to tell you that most people are not gearheads and tuned into the latest, fastest, greatest products. They just want basic transportation. And for people like that could care less about 0 to 60 times and how cars handle, they just want the car to start, drive, get them where they need to go, and save them some money on fuel. CVTs do the job. If you're at all enthusiast-minded, if you're tuned into your car and you want to get better performance, CVTs can be frustrating. Now, with that, I will also add that there's new technology that has come to the marketplace. 2 products that I drove that I think the CVTs are really good is the new Corolla hatchback, and this transmission will be coming in the new Corolla sedan. Is the CVT from Toyota that actually has a mechanical first gear. So when you put your foot into it and get away from a traffic light or stop sign, it's actually a real mechanical cog, which gives you that direct feel. And then that slips out of the way and the CVT takes over to give you greater fuel efficiency. So that's good. So it gives you a bit more of that sort of enthusiast connected feel. Now the other one is the transmission that they use in the Kia Forte, the IVT, the Intelligent Variable Transmission, which instead of using a belt, uses a chain. And this was really good. I was very impressed with that CVT. And I even said in my review. If you put, 100 people in this car, most wouldn't be able to tell. It is that good. So yes, they're getting better. And these tricks, like having a mechanical first gear, I think that's the way to go to get the best of both worlds. If you're a performance-oriented person and you like to be connected to your car and get the most out of it, CVT might not be for you. But for a lot of people that are kind of just brain dead driving to work, they don't care. The Kia Optima, I remember this. This was from an earlier when he was talking about the price he got for his Kia Optima. So I'll skip over that. Will the Fiat 500 disappear from the Canadian market? The Fiat 500 disappear from the Canadian market. Well, I think that Fiat has a real problem getting people interested in a car that hasn't changed since it came to the marketplace. And everybody that wanted the cute little Fiat 500 now has one. And if you look at the sales month after month from Fiat for that 500, they're really, really slowing down. So, FCA has brought Fiat to the marketplace. They've brought Alfa Romeo to the marketplace. But what's the long-term plan for these brands? I mean, we really need to reinvent their vehicles regularly. They brought out the Fiat 124, based on the Miata or the CX-5 from Mazda. And they were offering some really incredible deals on that car because it wasn't selling that well. So I think Fiat as a brand is going to be a real question mark. But yeah, the numbers speak for themselves. It's not selling that well. This comes from Dale. Should my parents buy a BMW X1 or Cadillac XT4 for a recently retired couple looking for a small SUV with a bit of luxury? Maybe the CX-5. Well, this is actually absolutely what I was just talking about earlier. This new CX-5, for the price where these other vehicles kind of start, fully loaded, that signature trim, leather seats, nice infotainment system, beautiful looking on the outside, alloy wheels, all of the latest stuff that you want in a vehicle. I think the top model is $40,000 and the turbocharged engine that runs on regular gas. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be one of those vehicles that when people start shopping for those entry-level Q3, X3, XT4, and then they go over to Mazda and they go, wait a second, I can get everything in this car for where these other ones start. It certainly should be tried. What else should you? Oh, you should also get your parents to try the Volvo XC40, which is one of my top 10 vehicles from last year. Is the Honda 9-speed that you criticized the same in the Pilot and Passport for 2019? Yeah, so if it's got the, I just have to look at my time here, I've got time. If it's got the 9-speed, it's the same 9-speed. Okay, so if it's an Acura or a Honda, it's a 9-speed, it's that ZF. The 10-speed that they're using in the RDX, I think is really good. And also the Accord Turbo. Any idea when we'll see the Arteon in showrooms? Well, I'm going to be running into Thomas Tetzlaff from Volkswagen Canada at the Detroit show, so I'll talk to him about that. It was delayed. Apparently, it's coming the first quarter of this year, 2019. Zach, what do you think of the RDX A-Spec? Thanks. I think that Acura, I've said this many times in this live chat, Acura, I think, has absolutely nailed it with the RDX. It's got more of everything. It's got a standard panel roof. It's got a 2-liter turbocharged engine that has more power than its main competitors. It does have the 10-speed automatic transmission. It's got nicely finished interior. Now, it could be argued that the big controller in the middle for the dynamic chassis control, or not chassis control, the dynamic settings for the engine and transmission is overkill. The trackpad for the screen is a bit clumsy at first. But the A-Spec looks the part and has really changed the Acura brand. Anything that has A-Spec attached to it with the more aggressive look, these are not performance models, they're appearance package trims. It looks really, you know what vehicle looks really good in A-Spec is the MDX. It looks really good in the A-Spec trim. So yeah, I think the RDX is going to sell incredibly well, and the one that's going to sell the best is the A-Spec. I would like them to make one change. They do have a dynamic chassis setting on their top trim, but it's not available in the A-Spec. So it would be nice to be able to get that as an optional package on that model because it has the more athletic appearance, and it would be nice to get the more athletic suspension option. So maybe charge $1,500 more for it or something like that. I think they should do that. Robert says, I purchased a Corolla hatch a few weeks ago. Will I be able to get Android through a download? Love your reviews. Well, thank you for that. So what Toyota has is their Entune suite. It's kind of like a drawer of apps. It's an app drawer, okay? And what they've been able to do is to add Apple CarPlay. Now, it's, I think what the way I've asked this question and the way they answered it to me is it's just part of an app that can be added to the vehicle. So if it has the latest Entune head unit, it should be reverse compatible. You should be able to add it to vehicles that have the latest Entune system, which the Corolla does have. So yes, you can get Apple added and hopefully Android Auto. And Toyota has committed that they are going to be working with Google to make that happen. And they know, like I know and you know because you watch these regularly, that Apple and Android has become a vital part. And I asked one manufacturer on the why buy list, where does it fall? And they're seeing it now in the top 5, right around number 4. So especially the younger you go, the more young people want that connectivity included in their car. So Toyota will at some point add it in there. And hopefully for you with your Corolla, it'll be reverse compatible. VJ says, the new G20 BMW 3 Series, will it come to Canada as a 2020 model or will it be a 2019? Also, the current 4 Series, when do you think it'll get a refresh? Typically the German automakers, when they release a car in that year, it's that model year. Now, I don't know for sure. I'm just telling you historically what has happened. So when they bring that car in 2019, it should be a 2019 model year. So when you look at the cadence of model refreshes in history, historically from BMW, yes, they'll bring out a model and then they'll refresh the model based on that soon. So what to look out for? The Geneva Motor Show is coming in March, the first week of March, and then the Frankfurt Motor Show is coming in September. So keep an eye to those to see what the announcements are from BMW for a refreshed 4 Series. So that's what you should be looking for. The next big auto show, actually think about it, is the Detroit show, but BMW won't be there. The next big auto show for them will be Geneva in March and then Frankfurt in September. That's when we'll find out. Have you had a chance to get your hands on the BRZ TS? Yes, I have. There's a video. Go on to the channel and have a look for that. I did a top 5 things you should know about that car, and we did it on the track. It's a really twisty elevation change track, and I did that video, and then I started to get sick. I wasn't feeling very good. Which do you think will be durable, the Highlander or the Honda Pilot in 2018? I think you're going to be fine with both. I saw a recent article online. I think I shared, maybe I didn't share it on the Facebook page, that the vehicles that'll be around 15 years from now, and it was basically all Toyota and Honda. I thought it was kind of a silly list because if you actually look at vehicles that have been around a long time, pickup trucks from domestic manufacturers actually last a long time. So I thought it was a really silly, I think that's why I didn't post it on Facebook, because I thought it was kind of a stupid thing to say, well, the only cars that are going to be here 15 years from now are all going to be Hondas and Toyotas. Well, I don't think that's entirely true. Hey, you buy a Chevy pickup truck, a Ram, or a Ford F-150, it'll be here 15 years from now. Hey, by the way, if you want to get in on these Toyo skis or the Toyo board, go to my website, motormouth.ca, click on the contact tab and get your name, your email, and I need your phone number, and tell me if you want the skis or the board. So in the title, type in Toyo Tires skis or Toyo Tires board to tell me which one you want. Okay, so enter for one, not both. The next one is, do you think the myth of electric car range issue is really for really cold weather? Do you think electric cars are still premature to be driven in extremely cold weather? Well, it depends what you're doing with it. I mean, if you're driving 15 minutes to work and 15 minutes home, Well, it doesn't not going to really matter that much. If you've got a car with 200 kilometer plus range, yeah, the battery might be degraded a bit, maybe 20, even 30% in extreme cold weather, but so what if you're not driving that far? If you're somebody that's driving longer distances, I'm not saying that's the cutoff, but if you're doing longer distances, then yeah, you might be concerned about it. Here's the beauty of electric cars when it comes to cold weather. You can condition your car without starting it. One of the worst things you can do for your car and for the environment is to use that engine starter thing and have your car sitting in the driveway warming up for 20 minutes. Horrible for the engine, horrible for the emission system, and horrible for the environment. I think they should be allowed. That's just my opinion. But an electric car, because there's no tailpipe, you can go on your app and you can tell your Chevy Bolt or your Volt or whatever it is to warm up. And then when you get into your car, the seat warmers are on, the cabin is already conditioned to room temperature, and you drive away, and that didn't take any battery energy. It was because the vehicle was plugged into a wall. Same thing if you get to work. If you get to plug it in, you can precondition. The same thing for warm weather. You can make the air conditioning come on. So yeah, it's all on how far you have to go. What's your opinion of the Forester for 2019? I think they did a great job. It's bigger, it's more fuel efficient, it's got a nicer interior. They really worked on a lot of things that Subaru wasn't particularly good at. The soft touch points inside the cabin, the way it looked, the way it felt. In many instances it was called, plastic fantastic on the inside. They upgraded their head units. They worked on the touch points. The seats are much more comfortable, yet it's more fuel efficient and bigger. So yeah, I think it's going to do very well for Subaru. A few more to go here. My mother, after lots of deliberation, just ordered an XC90 T6 Inscription. Thoughts on the vehicle of a driver who puts comfort and ease of use first? I think it's a great choice. You're certainly not going to get many more comfortable cars than that. If it was your money, would you get a loaded Q5 or X3? Power-wise, they both seem comparable. What do you think about reliability for both? I would get the Q5 only because I like the platform that they use at Audi for all of their new products. The A4, the A5, even the bigger vehicles are based on this modular platform, and I think it's really nice because it's light. It feels light when you're driving it, and for me, that's what I like about the Q5 is it has a very positive, light feel to it, and I also like the more avant-garde looking interior, where I think that BMW hasn't changed their interior and their look that much. So for me, I like the Q5 more. Zach, what do you think about the Maserati Levante or the Porsche Macan? Well, you always have to factor in things like resale value, and for me, it's no brainer. The Porsche Macan is the way to go. So that's the way I would go. So that's a not live Q&A. These are questions I had left over from previous shows, and I wanted to first of all put something out for you because last week I was away at the Consumer Electronics Show. This week I'm at the Detroit Auto Show. I will be putting out very short little videos on all of the new products that I get a chance to look at. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you enter for the skis. And next week, the week after, I will be here for my live chat. So that's all the time we have for this week. We'll talk to you then. Bye now.